Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are live again for another wonderful episode of the NFL Matchup Madness.
Yes, sir.
I'm your host, Cool McCain. I'm joined as always above me by your co host.
Cedric Green, what's up, guys?
So, we're going to not take a lot of time here. We know what we're here for. We're here to, talk matchups.
Talk some
So,
football.
it's time to get to the fun stuff here. So, let's get this rolling.
Let's
And we're going to
go.
go ahead and start with our first matchup. It looks like we only have one of the participants for that one, but that's okay. I'm sure he'll be more than able to handle it. So we're going to go ahead and bring on Jeff Hunt. Jeff's had a good week, so I'm sure he's all smiles down here.
Yes, gentlemen, what's up? I just told you, you guys are my good luck charm. It's good to see you again, Cedric.
What's up?
Cool.
What's up?
Yeah, what's with everybody dodging the Dolphins? I mean, I understand there's only a couple 3-0 teams left, but man, they won't even come on the show anymore. It's really getting out of hand.
Hey, man, it happens. All it takes is a couple of wins, and then apparently, man, people don't want to show up. I guess they see it as like, oh yeah, that's that team. I'm not coming. So Jeff, tell us about what the Dolphins have been able to do this past couple of weeks, and what do you think they'll be able to take from that game and use on Thursday?
So let's face it, both of the last two games, you got the big comeback versus the Ravens, which they couldn't stop talking about on TV last week. Even I was like, okay, we need to move past this. It wasn't the greatest game in NFL history, but it was a great comeback. And then last week they they beat who, I mean, basically everybody considered them one of the top two teams probably in the league, in the Bills. I thought, okay, this is going to be the test. They escaped one with the Ravens. They managed to beat the Bills somehow. We talked about it before the show. The Bills had, double the stats and everything. The Dolphins only ran 39 offensive plays, which is staggering to win a football game. There was a goal line stand. There was a butt punt that goes out of bounds for a safety. The Bills mismanaged the clock a little bit at the end. Allen doesn't get a chance to save it. He couldn't come up. Obviously, the heat, was a huge factor and all these things. But basically, the takeaway is, this is a team built with a plan. This is a team that obviously has confidence in itself. The new coaching staff, it really looks like that's the difference as far as like, they don't give up. They're not rattled. They understand they can stay in it. Tua looks like he looks like a completely different player now under McDaniel, which is awesome. And so as far as what they can take from that into the Bengals, it's going to be the same thing. They're going to play a really good team in the Bengals. They're going to go from whatever it was down to that crazy 95 and humidity or whatever. I live up here in Ohio. It's going to feel more like 45 probably by the time, halftime comes around. So, they got to adjust to, some weather differences. But the main thing they got to take away is like, if Burrow jumps on them, Burrow gets a big play, Chase gets a big touchdown, they just got to be like, nope, we can do this. We know we can do it, even if we're down, 14, 17 points, something like that. Then they also can believe, like, if they get them on the ropes, they can believe that they can finish the game. So a lot of it's mental as to where, all 50 some players on the roster stay in the game for the entire 60 minutes. And they look pretty well conditioned, for a long game. So that's the biggest thing, is that they know that they can play a full football game against really good teams and really good quarterbacks. I mean, they've beat two of the best quarterbacks in the leagues back to back.
Yeah, definitely. So while we're seeing if we can get the other rep here, Jeff, talk to me about what do you think the Bengals can do to beat you this week?
Well, the thing is, I mean, we know Burrow, we know Chase. That's everybody knows if Chase gets loose, it's gone. The Dolphins have done pretty good in the secondary. I would say that I think they did a pretty good job on Diggs last week. He helped them a little bit. Overall, good job. Holland's great back there. I think the thing is, like, Dolphins don't do much running. The Bengals can run the football if they decide to. So I think that's, even the Bills really don't run the football much, and that's where I think the Bengals, like, you get a big shot by Chase. Maybe they get up 10, and then with Mixon and them, they can grind it out, and I think they can run the ball and control the game more than the Dolphins have had to deal with the last 3 weeks. So that's my biggest worry, is that if everything's going right for the Bengals, they can shorten the game if they choose to, rather than, I think if anything, the Bengals have opened it up too much, and that's what's exposed Burrow and maybe taking too many shots. I think they could probably control the game if they can manage to get some of those early shots on the Dolphins. So that kind of concerns me, that they can take some of the air out of the ball, because the Dolphins really just don't run the football. I mean, their leading rusher is still under 100 yards for the season. So, it's Tua. It's Tua and the double-headed, speed racers out there on the edge, and that's the offense, which so far so good, but it's only that can only carry you so far in a knockdown drag out.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense.
So I got a question.
Yep.
Speaking of shots and Tua, after that shot Tua took last week, he's listed as questionable right now?
Yeah, I believe they have him as questionable, which that's go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, what are the thoughts about that coming up on the short week?
The short week is huge, with all that. It's one of those things, all jokes aside, we know about he said he had the lower back injury and all these things. I think most people that have watched football and have eyeballs know what happened there. I'm under the understanding that the concussion protocol is put in place during the game. The NFL has their own doctors and everything, so they can't loophole any of this. So I got to trust that the doctors did their job and he's all right. But once you cool down from that game or whatever, is there possibly some sort of lingering neck, back, even if it's just a tightness or anything, and you only have 3 days to go to Cincinnati and play? It's definitely a concern. This is the wrong week to have anybody questionable, because anything can go. I imagine he will go, but we don't want to see a, like last week with Justin Herbert situation, to where he goes and shouldn't, and then you don't give your team any chance to win. So it's concerning, but I think it's more like it has always been with like a lot of the guys, where he's just always going to have the Q beside his name because he's a quarterback and he gets tackled a lot. I hope that's what it is. Obviously, they're not going to tell me, but I'm being optimistic.
All right, Jeff. So we do have your opponent here this week.
Awesome.
So he's a little late, but he was able to get in here. So, sports guy, what's going on, man?
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing tonight?
What up? What up?
Great.
We're doing well, man. So, sports guy, we've been talking to Jeff. He'll give us a little info from both sides. So, talk to us about what do you think the Bengals can build on from the past 3 weeks to make this a game and possibly win this game.
Well, here's my explanation for the Bengals. So, as I've been watching the first 2 weeks, the main issue with this team is just like it's the first of all, it's the offensive line. Our tackles is getting beaten bad, and that's been an issue for us over the years. And second is like the play calling, execution of the plays. I just feel like our plays is too very predictable. Anybody in the world can predict those plays, of what's going on. So I feel like we just gotta, mixing up, and try to get the Miami Dolphins, show them something that they never seen from the Bengals. But I feel like them our main issues because we got good weapons. We got a great quarterback in Joe Burrow. We got a good running back. I just think they need to be utilized right. The first 2 games, we didn't do no play actions. All we did was throw out the under center. I just felt like we wasn't in sync. But that's due to not playing in the preseason. So when you ain't playing the preseason, it affects your gameplay. So our first 2 games, we was looking like, wow, we're not ready for the NFL, but we're not ready for the next game. But we got it right back together with the Jets, and now we got the Miami Dolphins coming in that's actually very hot. They got one of the best duos in the league with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So that's gonna be another test to our secondary. We'll be able to minimize them from exploding out from big plays or yards after the catch. So I think it's another tough test that we're going against on Thursday.
Okay. So what do you think you guys can do to possibly win this game, since we've already kind of got this information from Jeff?
I just just believe that the Bengals gonna win this game if Zach Taylor, he set up a good game plan to neutralize them speedsters out there, and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and stay aggressive on offense though. Because Miami, I look at Miami defense like Jerome Baker is a talented linebacker. I love Christian Wilkins, like he's a disruptor. So if we just run away from those type of guys, though, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. And we just can't let Miami build a rhythm against us too, because they're looking good. Tua is looking good because he got weapons now. So if we just neutralize them two receivers out there, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think we'll be fine. Execute plays. Don't be too predictable on the play call. Be aggressive and attack their secondary.
Definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely any final thoughts from you guys on your matchup?
Well, the Miami Dolphins, they lead in the all-time series. They're 17-7 against my Cincinnati Bengals, and we're bringing out the all-white outfit, and we painted the field all white. So it's going to be a special, intrigue night. Plus, that's the Ring of Honor game, so it's going to be the stadium going to be electrifying, though. Like, it's just going to be a fun environment. I'm attending the game. So
nice.
I'll be sending clips to you guys to show y'all the experience. So I think this matchup for my Cincinnati Bengals is a must-win for us, and we need to prove that we're still one of the big top dogs in the NFL, especially in the AFC. And if we let Miami beat us in Paycor Stadium, then it's gonna look real bad with us. 1-3 going into Baltimore next week is not fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. I look at it the other way too. This is a chance for Miami. Like if they go 3-1, that their record's great, but this would be a chance to be like, they've got to look at the Bengals. It's a funny stat. The Dolphins only lost one more game than the Bengals last year, but we know how much more successful the postseason was for the Bengals. So it's like these teams weren't light years apart as far as that. And then this is huge for the Dolphins to be like, just look at them as the defending AFC champs, not the Bengals, not this, not that. Look at them like really, really, really rate them up there, really respect them, and really take this as like a hurdle, in the same way that you're talking about could launch. And plus a 4-0 start would launch Miami into really good contention for a playoff spot, which would be awesome. I too am thinking about going to the game, but I might have blown my wad on the Buckeyes game Saturday. So I don't know if I can afford 2 of those in a week, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, man, I think you should go, man. It's gonna be electrifying.
It's gonna be a really,
Miami,
it's gonna be a good-looking game.
Well, cool, guys. So I just want to let both of you guys know. Just make sure you hop in on the YouTube and put in the comments where everybody can find you guys. Appreciate you both hopping on, and we're gonna get this thing moving on to the next matchup.
Thanks again, guys.
Definitely look forward to having both of you guys on next week, and hopefully you both can't win, but hopefully it's a good game.
I appreciate it.
It's gonna be a hell of a game, cool, man. I'm very excited for it. And so this Miami team, they're coming in hot. So as long as we cool them down, put them back in the ocean, we'll be fine.
Definitely. All right, guys. So appreciate it. We're gonna go ahead and move this thing on over to Chris. Chris, what is going on, brother?
What up?
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just going through a couple of the comments here. I do like the white uniforms that they're going to have on next week. On Thursday for the game. Those are pretty
white
dope.
Uniforms the Bengals pulling out. They look really nice.
They definitely do, man. So talk to us about this matchup, man. It looks like we're going solo with you tonight. It happens.
It happens. They're afraid of the Dirty Birds because they're a few plays away from being 3-0. So
that is a very good point.
Going into this matchup, I expect to see a lot of the same thing. Heavy doses of Cordell Patterson in the backfield. Hopefully a mistake-free game from Mariota. He hasn't had a completely perfect game yet, but he's done enough to be able to keep the Falcons in games. and that's what's really important. And in this defense, I don't know if they're overachieving, but they're definitely playing better than I gave them credit for at the preseason. So it's going to be a good matchup.
Okay. So what do you think, from your perspective as a Falcons fan, are your advantages that can help you win the game? And what do you think could be disadvantages that could put you in a position where you are losing another game?
Well, Cleveland's defense, they've always been top 10 for the last few years, and this year is no different. So it's going to be a really big testament to see how well this offense can move the ball against a good defense, a good stout defense. Cleveland's defense has kept them in games this year, and they could very well be in a pretty good position when Deshaun Watson comes back based off that defense alone. So that's going to be the true test. Can you continue to run over as you've been doing the last 3 weeks? Cordell Patterson put up 147 yards last week, career highs. Can he match that against this defense? I don't know if he can.
Yeah, definitely. Touring the AFC South brings up a good question regarding the status of Myles Garrett. You know, we had the one car accident today. Haven't heard too much other information about that. He also asked you, can you guys bring back the Dirty Bird dance? He misses it.
Hey, Dirty Bird dance has never gone out of style. Actually, they were doing it when that one Super Bowl we don't talk about. It came back then. But hey, you never know if the season goes the way that it's going right now. We could see that dance pretty soon.
Now, so I know you're not the Cleveland guy, but from Cleveland's perspective, what do you think they can do to pull out a win in this game?
You got to continue to ride that running game. They got one of the, if not the best running game in the league right now, with a team that doesn't have Lamar Jackson on it. And they got to continue to ride Chubbs and Hunt, because that's what's going to keep them in games. And Jacoby Brissett has to continue to play mistake-free ball.
Definitely. So I know who you have winning the game. Do you feel like Marcus Mariota would be able to do more than Jacoby Brissett if it came down to quarterback versus quarterback for you to win this game? Or do you feel like Brissett might be able to do a little bit more? Do you feel like he maybe has more weapons? Or
I think the weapons are pretty much similar. The Browns do have a little bit extra in the running game. They don't, and Cordell Patterson can't do everything.
True.
But on the Brown side, you got Amari Cooper, who's been having a great season so far. Like I mentioned, you got Chubb, you got Hunt, you got Njoku. They got weapons, and it's not all on Jacoby. Just like, I mean, in Atlanta, it's not all on Mariota, but he is going to be that glue that's going to keep it together because, like I said, Cordell can't do it all. This past week, he had 2 huge shots that he missed. The Kyle Pitts wide open down the field. He has to tighten those up. Kyle Pitts has to be more involved in this game, and going forward, he has to be. That's your main offensive threat outside of Cordell, and he has to be able to find a way to get in rhythm, get in sync with him. And I think so far, on the flip side, Jacoby has shown that he has that chemistry with his receivers, because they're not doing bad, and they've won games. So it's going to be who is going to be more consistent.
Okay, definitely. Now, as I tell everybody, every week, man, make sure you hop in the comments on YouTube. Just let everybody know where they'll be able to find you, where they can follow you. Definitely appreciate you having on, man. Very, very consistent with us. Definitely appreciate that, man. And any final thoughts for you?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good game, and hopefully we might see that dirty bird up in Cleveland this weekend.
Nice.
Very
All right,
nice,
guys.
very nice, very
I'll
nice.
see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Absolutely. We have two teams that the reps are not able to make it for, but that's all good because luckily for me and us, I have a little bit of knowledge about most of the teams that we're talking about. We're going to be talking about that early morning matchup overseas between the Saints and the Vikings. So I think this is an interesting game in that the Vikings got them a win that a lot of people did not expect them to get this past week. They played a red hot Lions team that even in defeat against the Eagles the first week of the season looked really solid, looked really good in their win against the Commanders. But we always talk about divisional games. And I think that's one of the things about that. It's a divisional game. You can never really count either team out because it's divisional games.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's Kirk Cousins. I see this as kind of like a prime time sort of game because, you know, it's a featured game. And if we think about Kirk Cousins in those situations where he's a featured game, there's not a lot of confidence we have in that. From what I'm understanding, Alexander Madison is going to be the running back for this game this week due to whatever happened with Dalvin Cook. I didn't get to read a lot up on it. Obviously, we have time for things to change between now and Sunday, but as of now. But then on the other side, you have Jameis Winston. You know, he has a plethora of weapons. I'd say 𝐿AVE is playing well. Michael Thomas, he's there. He's drawn attention. He's had some pretty good games, not so much this last game.
He's a little banged up, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's always banged up. I kind of consider him as like perpetually banged up at this point. I mean, he missed over like a year and a half. So I just figure he's going to be banged up. But,
that's true.
You know, at least he's out there, which is important because it helps to make teams have to focus for him. You have to plan for a guy like Michael Thomas. So I think that'll be beneficial for the Saints as well. When I look at the game, I think it's a good chance for the Saints to get back to 500. I think James does have the issues with the back, but I think they'll be able to run the ball on Minnesota. Based on the other teams they played, they've all ran the ball pretty solidly on Minnesota, and that's something the Saints are going to want to lean on. They'll have both of their running backs, so it's another two-headed monster that's pretty good. So I'm gonna go with the Saints winning this game. Cedric, any thoughts you have on this game, man?
I feel like this game could be a toss-up. Honestly, it could go either way. Like I was saying, there's a few key receivers banged up. You know, not necessarily out. Not even questionable. Just, you know, a little banged up on the Saints side. But they've been tending to, I feel like, start a little early in these games, these past few anyway, and they somehow tend to get on track. Although last week, you know, it definitely didn't happen. But I mean, Minnesota's not necessarily catching fire right now either. I mean, I feel like Justin Jefferson pissed a lot of people off last week. So I feel like this game go either way, but, you know, I guess I'll just have to step on the flip side. I'll go Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah, I think, you know, again, I definitely agree with you on the fact that it's pretty close to a 50-50 game. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm just going to lean a little bit the way of the opposite team from you, just because I think the Saints are able to utilize some of the things that are not done well defensively by the Vikings. And still question about their receiving core as well. They have the weapons. They got Thielen there. I mean, if you look on paper, they should be putting up 300 to 400 yards a game with no problem. But
they got Kirk Cousins, though.
Kirk Cousins, and like I said,
serviceable quarterback. And I mean, it's kind of the same with Jameis too. I feel like Jameis definitely has his moments where he flashes, but he's been serviceable, you know. So I you know, I think it comes down to like a field goal.
It makes sense. Close makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah, we'll get this next matchup rolling here in 1 second. In the meantime, I just want to appreciate everybody that watches, everybody that catches the replay.
Yeah.
If you do have the opportunity to watch or catch the replay, definitely make sure that you like the show, make sure that you share the show, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We'll be having content in regards to the team year round. So it'll definitely be a place that you'll want to be to just kind of see different NFL related content year round.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get this going here. All right, 1 minute here. It's the best thing about doing everything live, guys. Every once in a while, you have a little something crazy happen.
Hey, it happens.
You just work through it and keep moving. And everything tends to work out in the end.
If it ain't crazy, it ain't life, man.
Well, then it's definitely life. There we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get that transition going to the next matchup.
Hey.
How we doing today, gentlemen?
How we doing?
What's up? What's
Can't
up?
complain, man. Can't complain. Joseph, are you there? All right, Joseph might be having a little difficulty, so we'll go ahead and kick things off with you, Derek. So talk to us about last week. I know it's probably a little bit of not the way you wanted things to go, but what can you grab from the first 3 weeks and take moving forward, into this game with the Ravens to try to pick up a win, get back on the track?
I'll tell you what, man. I really do believe, even after last week, even after the loss, that the Bills are one of the top 2 teams in this league. If you'd have told me that by the end of this game we'd be missing 12 starters, and we'd lose a 2-point game that we had every opportunity to win 3 different times, I would look at you and be like, "Oh, all right." I mean, we're talking about. I think all but one guy in our starting defensive secondary was a 6th round pick or later. That's unheard of, and we had every opportunity to win this. The team is deep, the team is good, and when they get healthy, they're going to be scary. They showed they could be scary the first 2 weeks, and I mean, if not for 2 dropped passes, an unconventionally bad throw, and maybe could use a little bit more clock management skills on the back end there, we'd be looking at a 3-0 Bills team instead. But going forward, it's about getting healthy for the Bills. It's about getting healthy and getting right, because I'm not your traditional Bills fan who's like, "Oh, we lost, and here's all these excuses and the heat and we talked about it before we got on the air, the way the stadium was built and all this other stuff." No, I mean, we lost. That's all it is. An L's an L, and that's that. Moving forward, we got a tough test this week. Baltimore is a good team. They're a talented squad, and they have that offensive has been on fire. This is a week that I'm sitting there hoping that we get both of those defensive tackles back. We get somebody in our secondary back, and because if not, we're going to have trouble with Lamar, because Lamar is the best athlete on any field he steps on. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care where you're playing. Lamar Jackson is just on another level. And there's a couple guys that can lay claim to that title, but I've yet to see somebody do it for as long as he has, to the level he has with the team, or with the team and lack of weapons around him that he's had.
Fair enough. So, Joseph, appreciate you being able to join us, sir. So talk to us about the Ravens, what they were able to do last week, and so far this season, what you think they'll be able to bring into this game. And then also what things you think they'll be able to do to get a win here.
Okay. Week. Are you able to see me? Like, is the camera focused perfectly fine? Because I don't know.
Yeah, you're good.
Everything was pretty good this week. The team is just finding its course. Players are coming back. Players are getting better. Rhythm is getting better with certain people. And the defense buckled down. They remind me of the New Orleans Saints in the sense of they'll kind of yards, but what they do that has helped this team kind of stay afloat is they force turnovers. And right now they have lead the league in interceptions, lead the league in turnover differential, mainly because not only do they turn the ball over, but they also keep the ball and they possess it very well. Although I do see this as a very difficult matchup because we don't have a pass rush. And unfortunately, without a pass rush, it doesn't matter how good your back end is. They're going to suffer if they can't get pressure. And I don't think it's going to be a matchup favorable for the secondary. I expect a lot of yards given up. But what I do think, we play the time of possession game, we can win the game, because all we would have to do is probably ask our defense to maybe get 1 or 2 stops, and then we could probably win the game. It's not going to be easy, but I do trust this offensive line and this offensive run game to get better and better. And as he had just referenced, if those tackles aren't in there, then it's the perfect time for us to be able to get 𝐏𝐀𝐑 Dolphins going, and then we can really see how good this offense can be.
Okay.
Nice.
I definitely feel that. So Derek, what can Baltimore do to win this game?
They got to establish the run. They got to, they have to keep the ball out of Josh's hands. I can tell you, the look in his face after he walked off the field, I've seen that look before, and it usually doesn't go well for whoever they're playing the next week, the next time. It doesn't matter how long it takes. So they got to keep him off the field, and when he's on the field, they got to keep him off balance. One of the things I thought Miami did really well was he was a little antsy. He looked a little trigger happy in the pocket, getting rid of it. There were a few times he made throws, and they were completions for 4, 5, 6 yards that he threw it, dumped it off, and then went, "Oh, I didn't have to do that fast." And he just kind of let the game speed get to him a little bit. If they can do that, Josh has shown he will turn the ball over a little bit. It's live by the sword, die by the sword. He's trying to win. He's trying to make plays. But when he gets a little trigger happy, he does have propensity to make some ill-advised throws. I would take that over Captain Checkdown and the other myriad of ridiculous quarterbacks we've had over the last, everybody since Kelly before Josh. But you got to keep him off balance. You got to keep him guessing. And you got to give him kind of get a little happy feet in there.
Definitely makes sense. Same question for you, Joseph.
Much of what he said, but for the most part, I think the offense has to continue its pace. They have to score touchdowns, not field goals. That's the last thing we want to do if we want to have a chance to win this game.
No, what I'm asking you is, what can Buffalo do to beat you?
Oh, I was going to say, more kind of echoing what he had said. It's just really they can spread the ball around amongst anyone. And with the secondary that's still nicked up, guys like Gabe Davis, because number one, Stephon Diggs is going to be the main target, but the Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, if he's playing, those guys are the ones that are going to very much the ones that you have to stop if Baltimore does not want Buffalo to win this game. You just got to do the best you can in terms of stopping their
So definitely like that comment by Stuart. That says a lot, kind of sums things up pretty well. Well, Joseph, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I always could hear you.
Oh, I mean, we can hear you now again, I should say.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll just go with this then. Final thoughts, and we'll start with you, Joseph. Final thoughts on the game.
Should be the game of the week, to be honest with you. Should have a high power game. I expect this to be in the high 30s because I think as good as Buffalo's defense is, I think it's something to be said about the ability for Lamar to only run as of necessity as opposed to being his first option. And I think the offense is a lot better. Like, it's easy to sit here. No offense has not changed from any year Lamar has had this offense with Greg Roman. The players have gotten better. The Rashad Batemans have started to come along. Rashad Bateman had a 35-yard catch in the last sequences to really extend and put away New England for good last week. And then Devin Duvernay, you've seen he's 8 targets, 8 touchdowns, 8 targets, 8 catches, 3 touchdowns. It's coming along, but I think, it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think I have Baltimore winning 38-35.
All right. And Derek, any last thoughts from you, man?
Listen, Buffalo Bills, specifically Josh Allen bounce back games, are usually pretty electric. I'm excited for it. I think I don't know, and I don't believe that Gabe Davis was 100% last week. He didn't look himself. Wasn't moving like himself. And I'm hoping that they bounce back from all the heat issues that they had. If our offense is healthy with it, which it looks to be for the most part, I'm hoping, Mitch Morse clears protocol and everything else. Not like that weird miracle protocol that Tua passed last week, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's going to be a lasting story here for a while. So
it sure is.
That's pretty
In
cool.
and out.
Yeah, I really do believe that I mean, he said it. The offense hasn't changed, and the Bills have shut down that offense, and we just shut down better receivers. Listen. I like the Ravens receivers. I really do. I think they're very talented, but they're not Waddle and Hill, and we just really kept them under wraps with not a whole lot on the back end. I think especially if we're healthy and we can kind of establish a pocket, and McDermott's defenses and Frazier's defenses do a great job of making things look funny, making defenses look like something they're not. I think that's your key, and I think this Bills offense bounces back big this week and pushes for that 50 burger.
Dang.
All right. Well, I appreciate both you guys for hopping on. Look forward to seeing you both next week, of course. And don't forget to hop on the YouTube. Just let everybody know where they can find you.
I'm all over that YouTube.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. See you
Thanks
guys
for
next
having me
week.
on, boys.
No problem.
Bill.
All right. So we're going to slide on over to Couch Coach, who looks like he's going to be going solo today.
Couch Coach.
Talking the Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys, which I think he will be fine discussing both of those teams with us. So, Couch Coach, how's it going today, man?
I'm okay, cool. I'm 48 hours after the fact. I'm feeling as good as I could be, as I could possibly be.
Feeling as good as you possibly could be. That's fair. That's fair. Well, actually, I take that back, sir. We are going to be joined by your counterpart today.
Hey.
So, Mr. Douglas, how's it going today, sir?
Oh, my goodness. Well. How y'all doing tonight?
What up?
I'm doing great.
If you're on here, go on, get a little energy in your voice.
Hey.
Come on. Don't run away. Don't run away, Coach. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
Here we are.
Well, while Couch Coach is handling whatever's happening on his end, sir, how about you give us a little insight? Talk to us about what the Cowboys have been able to do so far, and how do you think they'll be able to use that to get a win?
Cooper Rush.
Well, what it did, the best thing that happened, at least for this week, is that not this week, but since Dak went down, it changed the whole philosophy. It made Kellen Moore do what we should have been doing forever, and that is run the football. Everything is based off that. You put the ball in the hands of your two best players. Once that happened, it opened up everything, and it let Cooper Rush just be somewhat relaxed. So, if anything, it's really not about the individual. It's about the old school football. Run the football, play defense. And Lord knows we got a defense waiting, salivating for anybody, just waiting. And I ain't going to even talk about Washington. I'm just saying, if anything, it made Kellen Moore get out of this pinball machine type offense and settle everything down. And that's what's going to help us on Sunday.
All right,
Running the football.
All right, Couch Coach, I don't know if you heard, but basically the same question. Just talk to us about what you guys have been able to do so far, and how you think you can use that to try to get a win in this game on Sunday.
Yeah, this team, I tell you, it's obviously that week one was a great performance, but the last 2 weeks has just been really downhill. Obviously, in those two game matchups, I think one of the things where we have hit a patch of adversity. Obviously, as you know, Cool, you were witness to this one where Carson Wentz was sacked 9 times in Sunday's game. So, so it's a lot of things that I think Washington needs to really clear up. Hopefully, in this matchup, I think there's a few advantages that we could potentially have. I think definitely as the calling card for this Washington Commanders team is definitely going to be the receiver core. I'm definitely looking forward to the matchup. Also, definitely with Diggs and also versus Terry. We know he's owned that matchup essentially. And I know in the home game that we had last year, Trayvon got the best of the matchup, but for the most part, Terry had it his way. So I look at that, and then I think that's going to be one of the biggest keys for us, and especially in this matchup, definitely taking advantage of that secondary. I think the biggest thing is just to have the pressure on, keep Dallas's defensive line, which is just just tremendous. And you just look at it from the standpoint of can Carson Wentz sling that ball in quick in time, and that's going to be the biggest thing. If he could stop doing those hesitation, pump fakes, hezzies, and all that, that's not necessarily just sling that football. It is what it is. So if he can do that, I think we can definitely have a legitimate shot. And I think if we can control the tempo early, we can't be down. We always know in these two games that we're not about that life being down, multiple touchdowns, in any point in this game. So I think we can get the lead early. And I think just out for last year, I think to me this is going to be a great thing for them because they got embarrassed last year, 56-14, the day after Christmas. The biggest.
Okay. Cedric, any questions for these gentlemen here?
Oh man, they went in pretty good detail on it. Sounds like it's going to be a great game.
Definitely does. So, question I always like to ask everyone, and we'll start with you, Couch Coach, since we just ended with you, just kind of flip it back and forth. So, what do you think that the Dallas Cowboys can do to secure a win against you guys on Sunday?
We really have gave every team in the National Football League the recipe for us. Essentially, you attack us first, you get a sizable lead, and you get the pressure of Carson Wentz. And this is where Michael Parsons, if he's salivating at this matchup. He probably looked at guys like Aiden Hutchinson, who gets off. Your boy Brandon Graham, your boy got off. Cool. And so, him, DeMarcus Lawrence. Correct, but we're gonna do one tonight. That's all. I got a little post-traumatic, in me. But I just
my bad.
But you're good. But I see like Michael Parsons salivating this matchup. Also, DeMarcus Lawrence. So I think if they could just get pressure to Carson Wentz, get him rattled, because we already know he's rattled at this point, especially off that performance last week, and pretty much I think, and they'll have opportunities, obviously, the way our defense has been as far as getting those big plays. So I could definitely see a guy like a Tony Pollard going off, and Zeke got his groove back last night. So he probably could continue that as well. And they could potentially, get a home win and keep us back in the basement. But I just hope, guys, since we're gonna be in the basement, just leave me some cheese and some crackers and some water. That's all I ask for. Being in the basement.
Same question for you, Doug.
I gotta act like Washington gonna win. Really?
Well, I'm just asking you, what do you think that they could do to win the game? I'm not saying that you're saying that they're gonna win. I'm just saying-
They have to do whatever they can to get this offensive line together. I mean, 9 sacks is 9 sacks. You can't do nothing if you can't block nobody. And this is the wrong team that they need to be seeing coming off 9 sacks. The Cowboys lead the league in sacks right now, and for good reason. And if the offensive line is not right, I will say this. The Giants last night, they got the right game plan, but they didn't have really the talent. McLaughlin and Terry, they can get it done, but Wentz has to get the ball out quick. If he can do that, you got a shot. You know what I'm saying? But if he have to have these 5 and 7 step drops, you're gonna get lit up. It's just that simple because we coming. And we gonna get home. It ain't no question about it. So the ball got to come out quick. You need to use Gibson, and you need to some kind of way bring in McKissick. If you can break McKissick, JD come in. That's how you get rid of the ball quick. And you got playmakers there, but you can't get into Carson Wentz patting the ball 5-step drops, 7-step drops. If you do, he's gonna get murdered because your offensive line is not there. 9 sacks. I mean 9. Come on now. 9.
That's a lot of sacks.
Carson Wentz is injury prone, and you got these animals of mine that's just in the cage waiting to come out. And if they come out, Carson Wentz, as we all know, he's injury prone. I hate to see his season get shortened up this week, but 9 sacks. That's all I'm gonna say, cool. We coming, man. We look Cowboys coming. We coming. We coming. Somebody get hit.
Fair enough. So, guys, we appreciate both of you for being able to hop on with us this week. Most definitely. And then look forward to seeing you both next week. You know, wish you both well in the game. I know only one team can win, but either way, I win. So I'm definitely going to be watching
y'all next
in between my game.
Nicole.
No, you mean y'all next.
So y'all coming. I'm just letting you know, y'all coming. Y'all on schedule. Y'all hope y'all flying high. Fly high. Okay.
All I'm gonna tell you, sir, is don't you sing it, you bring it, and you better bring everything you got, and it still ain't gonna be enough.
Okay.
But make it good. Make it good for us.
Okay.
We need a little bit of a challenge somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see you in a couple weeks, cool.
Hey, you see me every week.
All right, bro.
All right, gentlemen. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget to hop in the comments and let everybody know where they could find you.
All right.
Will do.
All right, gentlemen.
Get out of here.
All right. So right now we just have one of our representatives. Actually, we got both now. So we'll start off with you, Malcolm.
What is up? What's up,
what's
guys?
going on,
How y'all?
man?
Good, confused, like every other Chicago Bear fan should be happy right now, but I'm more confused than anything.
Okay. So please talk to us. Why are you confused, sir?
I'm confused because of two things. How is this offensive line bad at protecting Justin Fields, but at the same time can give Khalil Herbert or David Montgomery the time of day? Because what I'm about to put on y'all, what was just brought to my attention, really shocked the crap out of me. Something about your team that can't protect the quarterback, but for some odd reason can make your running plays, like absolute. That's what's so confusing to me. But we'll get to that when we take on the Giants this Sunday.
Fair enough. So what's going on, Wise? How are you today, sir?
I'm doing much better than I was yesterday.
I understand, man. I understand. That was an interesting game. But hey, man, somebody got to win, somebody got to lose. I thought y'all were gonna win, but hey.
Listen, the same problem the Bears had where they can't protect their quarterback, we definitely had that, man. Daniel Jones was running for his life. He ran for 6 or 7 first downs, but didn't do anything. He was under pressure all day, and he didn't turn the ball over to the end of the game. But they have to do better protection, man. If they're gonna win, they definitely have to protect their quarterback. It's just ridiculous, man. He was just under pressure all over, man. He was getting hit the whole game. He got like 17 pressures on him. It was crazy.
So, guys, I'll start with you guys. Talk to us about what you can do to get a win against the Bears on Sunday.
First of all, we got to stop dropping the ball, Kenny Galladay. We lost Sterling Shepard for the year, torn ACL. That's a big blow for us. So hopefully Tony comes back. Robinson could. I didn't even get to see Robinson on the field yet. Sills, I don't know what the hell he just fell, and then Tavon Diggs just picked it off. But oh man, this is gonna be rough, man. Like if the Bears put the pressure that Dallas put on us, it's gonna be a long day, man. It really is. It starts with that offensive line. If that offensive line can protect Daniel Jones, he has the talent to produce. But if same thing, I'm just like, it was just crazy, man. All you seen was just white. All you seen was just Dallas jerseys all over them, everywhere, just regardless. So the key is that offensive line, man. The defense played well. We had a great defense, played well. They held Dallas down to 23 points, but they just couldn't score. It's like we can't score in the first half. We haven't scored a touchdown in the first half in like 18 quarters.
Dang.
You're not going to win. You're not going to win that way. You're not going to win if you can't score. If all you're going to score is field goals in the first 2 quarters, you're already going to be behind. You're going to be behind 8 ball after that. It's just something has to change, man.
Oh, Richard James, time for the Giants. We got in the comments here. I like the way he's playing.
Oh no, he's playing great. But again, Daniel Jones don't have time to get him the ball.
Yeah, Slayton. Yeah. It's going to be tricky. So Malcolm, talk to us about what can the Bears do to get them a win on Sunday?
Well, they have to get the pressure on Danny Dimes. They have to literally eat him alive. And I'm looking at the rookie Dominique Robinson to come up with a big, huge game. And another thing is too, and I'm shocked, Wiz didn't talk about this one. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it Wise? I'm sorry. It's been one of them type of days. We got to stop the run because Saquon is Saquon. There's a reason why his last name is Barkley. Not the Sir Charles Barkley, mind you, but Saquon nonetheless. But I also am a little nervous because every time we face the G-men, Saquon always gets hurt. I don't know if the Bears just know how to stop him or to the fact of like getting to him, but we have to stop the run because oh my God, that game against Houston. Lord Jesus, that game against Houston. It was so stressful to the point I destroyed my stress ball. That's how stressed I was with that game. Also too, Justin Fields. I mean, and I'm gonna say this to every single Bear fan in a 15-mile radius. For the love of God, please, y'all, be patient. Y'all just say, "Oh, Justin Fields is trash. Justin Fields is this." He's not trash. The man has been dealt a bad hand. How you gonna call somebody trash when he doesn't have anybody to throw it to? The only reason why Chicago's 2-1 right now is because of their defense and their run game and Matt Uberfleece calling the plays in the second half. Because Luke Gasly, He's been suspect these last 3 games. He's been suspect. You're supposed to be this Aaron Rodgers whisperer, but where is the whispering? This is not an ASMR challenge here. This is a NFL. I need you to scream, holla, give Justin Fields. And yes, I can see the argument saying, "Oh, Justin Fields has to get his targets open." How are you gonna get targets open when Mooney is covered? And I'm sorry, Mooney is not a number 1. He is a number 2 at best. Here's some facts, y'all. Emmanuel St. Brown is the only one in our team that's leading our team in the passing game, and he's a number 3 at best. That's a problem. Justin Fields, and it's not even just Justin Fields. Luke Gasly has to come up with a play to not only get Mooney going, but you got to get Komet going. You got to get your you got to get all these wide receivers. Shoot, we've just put Pringle on IR, and now we got a guy named Joe Thomas coming off the practice squad to start. So hopefully he can catch a ball.
So it
or
sounds
get
like
open.
you have the same problem as the Miami Hurricanes do in college football. No one
Pretty
catches the
much.
ball.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
It's
that
not
could
even
be-
that. Just people just can't get open. But at the same time, how are you going to get open when your offensive line is not protecting you?
Yep.
3 sacks on Justin Fields is unacceptable to me.
Well,
And
and
yes,
yes,
you
it was
can-
a 9, right? So I mean, you got a bright line there. It was only 3. It was a 9.
Shoot,
wasn't
Justin.
5.
Shoot, Justin. Wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. No. I know how it's like when a quarterback gets sacked 9 times. Justin Fields got sacked 9 times against Cleveland last year, so I know exactly how that goes. But
I was just saying from the perspective of, I mean, could have been worse. I mean, yeah, you don't want the sacks. So talk to me real quick, Malcolm. What can the Giants do to beat you in this game?
Saquon has to run. You want to beat the Bears? Run.
Yeah.
Run. Not to quote the longest yard, Chris Berman. Look at that little maggot run. Man got them type of feet. But also make sure to limit him as well, because I have this funny feeling every time we play the Giants, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but Saquon always get hurt every time he plays against us. I don't know if it's the water. I don't know if it's I don't know. And also, I'm expecting a big game from Kyle Gordon and Brisker. I expect him to get 2 interceptions this game.
Okay.
Because our defense alone.
Yeah, Roz, talk to us about what do you think the Bears can do to beat you guys this week.
Put pressure on the offensive line, man. That's the weakness right there. That right there.
Yeah.
Listen, Daniel Jones has been hit and sacked the most in the NFL since he's been in the league, man. He hasn't had an offensive line since he's been with the Giants. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, he's bad. Look, listen, the dude can't stay upright. He's always on his back. He's always looking up. So if you put pressure on that offensive line, and that was supposed to be something we improved on in the offseason, and it just looks like it was just like Matador. There's the hell, hey, here you go, get him.
Yeah, I've had some years with some bad offensive lines or bad players, and I can tell you what, boy, that's a very frustrating thing when you know your quarterback's not getting the time.
And again, he has talent. It's not that he doesn't have the talent. Last couple of games, he hasn't fumbled the ball, which was something that's really been his issue. Has been his fumbles. Yeah, he threw that pick, but that was bull pick, man. Seals foul, whatever. But if they can't protect them, it's going to be a long day for the Giants. Yeah, they're going to have to run the rock. Yeah, Saquon is going to have to do his thing, but they have to protect Daniel Jones. They can't run the rock every single play, because then all you got to do is load the box and then force Daniel Jones to beat you.
Yeah, I dig it, man. I definitely dig it. So, guys, I wish you both luck on the matchup.
Hey,
Don't forget
cool.
to
Can
hop
this
in
be
the-
a tie? Can this be a tie game? Because it's the battle of bad
Man.
old lines.
Anything
You
is
know,
possible, man.
it all goes through
anything's possible.
coaching. That's what I'm looking for. It all goes through coaching. So you got the ball versus Eberflus. That's where it's gonna go lie down to is coaching in this game.
It's gonna be which defense decides to show up. Like
And that too. Yeah, the
'cause
defense and coaching.
hopefully Leonard Williams is playing. He's a big part of our defense. That's the reason why Dallas was able to run the rock like they were yesterday. Because we
Same
didn't have we
for
didn't have
us.
we didn't have
For
Leonard
us.
Williams there.
For us, Jalen Johnson too. I mean, he's dealing with a quad injury, and I think that was one of the biggest reasons why Davis Mills was able to pop off the way he did. Thank God for Roquan Smith. By the way, Ryan Poles, pay that man. I don't care. Give him the whole. I don't care. Pay him. Because 16
All right,
tackles is unbelievable.
I feel you, man. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys hopping on. Look forward to seeing both of you on next week. Good luck on the game. Maybe it will be a tie, but I have a feeling somebody's going to win. But we'll see who it is. And don't forget to hop on YouTube, guys. And don't forget to hop on YouTube and let everybody know where they can find you. Appreciate you guys.
Bear down, I guess. Peace.
Bear down.
Bear down.
All
What a
right.
dummy. What does that even mean?
Dylan.
Bear down. Stupid.
Hey, man. Hey. So, yeah.
Broncos country league. Let's ride.
Hey, the Seahawks already won the Super Bowl.
Hey, man. The Seahawks are on track, man. The Seahawks are on track. The game plan is in motion. We won the Super Bowl in week 1, and now we're 2 losses into our 1-16 campaign. All right. Everything is on track.
Did he say the 1-16 campaign? I love it, man.
It's just what it is. It's what it is.
So talk to me, man. I know you're based on context clues. It sounds like you think you guys are not going to win this week. But talk to me about what can you do to win?
Oh, geez. I mean, like the main issue is our defense is just god awful. It's the worst defense probably in the league. I don't know about like numbers, but the defense is absolutely atrocious. They can't tackle worth a damn. They have no interest in getting to the passer. The secondary is just full of rookies and guys who don't really belong there, i.e. Josh Jones. I don't know how he's a starter in the NFL. I don't know how we got to this point in his life, but, good for him. If they want to win, Geno Smith has to be MVP, man. He has to be MVP level. They have to put up a shit ton of points. And that's not even just for this week. That's for just moving forward. The defense is not going to stop anyone. They just let Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Cordell Patterson, led by Marcus Mariota, drop like 27 on them. And it was easy. So they're just going to have to be magical. Rashad Penny, Kenneth Walker needs to get going, but Rashad Penny needs to get back to that like 4-game stretch at the end of last year where he just rushes for like 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. DK Metcalf needs to catch literally everything thrown his way. Tyler Lockett and Geno need to get hooked up on that deep ball like Russell Wilson was with him. I call it magic because magic isn't real and this isn't going to happen. You asked me the question what they need to do to win, so I gave you an answer.
That's fair.
Whether it's possible or not, I don't know. Probably not, but I'm just here.
That's fair. So, talk to me about what do you think? Excuse me. Talk to me about what do you think?
I see that comment. You got Michael Jackson and Kobe Bryant back there. They're just playing the wrong sport. That's all, man. They're just playing the wrong sport.
So what do you think the Lions can do, to get a win this week?
Just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, Jamal Williams has been popping, even with Swift banged up. I mean, Swift still does some pretty good work, even if he's banged up. Jamal Williams has been an excellent backup. Hashtag to my fantasy team because I got him for a handcuff. I love it. Goff has been pretty good, obviously. You need the sun god healthy. I don't know what his status is for this week.
but I'm sure he'll be fine. They're just doing everything right on offense. The defense has been giving up a lot of points, and I guess that's where you can see your very small silver lining for the Seahawks is the defense does give up a lot of points. So maybe there's a potential there for Geno to go off or Rashad Penny to have a big game. But as long as the Lions just keep doing their thing, they had 6 or 7 games in a row where they scored 35 plus points. The Seahawks ain't keeping up with that kind of production. They're just not. So they just do the Lion thing, man. Lions culture. What's their saying? They got to have a saying. Bite some kneecaps, boys. Just get it done.
Fair enough. Any last thoughts on your matchup this week?
Yeah, I just saw on Twitter a little while ago. I like your guy. I like this show. I like watching it because it's fun to watch all of the fans come on here, like the guys who analyze their own teams, and they it's a bad team, and they justify like their bad team and why they're bad and how we're still a good team, but in reality they're a bad team. I won't lie to you like some other people. I know we are a bad team, but this guy tweeted out that the Seahawks have never lost to the Lions since 2012. Why are you talking like that? Why? Why? That was the Seahawks Super Bowl era with Russell Wilson, and the Lions were the Lions during that time period. That's not much of a stat, okay? Let's be honest here. This is a new Lions team. It's also a new Seahawks team. They're gonna get mollywopped on Sunday.
Fair enough, man. Well, we appreciate having you on, man, and look forward to your honest opinion on your team next week.
Hey, man, it's gonna be a fun little segment every time I come on here. I can't wait. It's gonna be a blast. But when it comes draft season and we have Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, we'll be back on top. And once they fire Pete Carroll, everything's gonna be great come next year. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, definitely don't forget to hop on YouTube and let everybody know where to find you.
Absolutely, man. Thanks.
No problem. Definitely a lot of hot takes, as you were saying, Cedric. Definitely a lot of hot takes.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to transition over to our Texans rep who we have on today. Matt, how's it going, man? Nah, you're muted. You got to unmute
What's
yourself.
going on?
There you go.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
How y'all doing tonight?
Amazing.
Doing well, man. Doing well. So it seems like your counterpart isn't here. So talk to us about just give it all to you right now. Talk to us about your Texans. What do you think your Texans are going to be able to do to try to get them a win this week? And also talk to us about the Chargers and what the Chargers can do to win this game.
The Texans, I had hopes for them, but man, they every year they just let me down. Davis Mills is not the quarterback that we thought he was. His breakout, wildly. His breakout game last year was against the Chargers, and ever since the end of the season, he's regressed. He lost us the game against the Bears last Sunday. But the main thing is the defense. We have over 700 yards rushing against us. You can't win no game when you are allowed that many rushing yards. They just eat the time off the clock. So for the Texans to win the game is to stop Eckler. I think he's going to have a big game, but I just don't see it. I think we're going to get stomped. I think it's going to be a massacre. I think the Chargers are pretty ticked off that the Jaguars went down there and beat them as bad as they did, and a little revenge game against last year. What we did to them last year. So I don't think they're going to put their foot on the gas and run us over 3 or 4 times. So it's going to be a blowout in my opinion. And the Chargers, man, the Chargers have to get Justin Herbert healthy. I think one more week will help him out. But like I said earlier, all the Chargers got to do is run the ball and make us passed with Davis Mills because obviously he's not getting the job done. Just can't find. He's reading his reads too much. He's not looking at other receivers. Just staring, and that's what cost us the pick and losing to the Bears game. But yeah, the Chargers defense is too powerful for the Texans' mediocre offense. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be like a 38-10 type of beatdown. Like I said, it's not gonna be happy at all. So, but hopefully the play calling is real vanilla for the Texans, and that way we can get rid of Pep Hamilton a little early than the off season.
Oh, Pep.
Yeah. There was a reason why he was an XFL head coach and not in the NFL. So everybody bought the hype of the Justin Herberts and Andrew Lucks, thinking he can turn Davis Mills into him, but let's be honest, Davis Mills is not him. So, am I ready to move on? Not quite yet. I think there's bigger hole. I think there's bigger holes to fill. Our defense, like I said, you can't in 3 games. You can't have 700 yards in rushing against. That's terrible. So I would like to go defense. Lovie Smith is a hell of a defensive-minded coach. So I wouldn't mind pick a couple of defensive players, and then maybe get a Tyler Huntley. If Lamar is a free agent next year, throw a crap load of cash to Lamar.
Well, I mean, man, you'll have options. The thing is, you'll have guys that'll be available in the open market.
Right.
You'll have the possibility of getting somebody in the draft. You may just need to get another coach that can use Davis Mills' skills, to the best. Sometimes that'll, change the fortunes of your QB as well. But, it's still early in the season, right? You still got a chance to bounce back.
Not that bad. I think we win. I think maybe we win a game or two if we're lucky.
We'll talk.
I think we beat the Giants, but that.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk some draft once we get nearer to the draft thing as well. But definitely appreciate you hopping on and talking about both of the teams. Definitely look forward to having you on next week, and also make sure you hop on the YouTube and just let everybody know where they can find you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir.
No problem. Appreciate it. See you next week.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and hop to our next matchup here. We have Stewart, who's making his debut, representing the Indianapolis Colts, as well as Mike, our resident Titans guy. There we are, Mike. How are you gentlemen doing today?
I'm great.
Awesome. So, Stewart, since it's your debut here, we'll start with you.
Mike,
Talk to us about.
You're still muted.
Yeah, I think you're muted.
Oh,
Mike.
yeah, you are muted. My bad, Mike.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you now. So, Stewart, we'll start off with you since it's your first time on. Talk to us about
Hello, can y'all hear
what
me?
the Colts have done. Yeah, we can hear you. What the Colts have done so far, and then talk to us about what they'll be able to bring into the game this week to try to get a win.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the tying of the Houston Texans week 1 and then the blowout week 2 against Jacksonville, and then we were able to get that victory last week versus Kansas City. I'm not one of those fans that live week to week and and say, oh, we beat the Chiefs, we're the greatest team in the league. I'm going to be honest with you. This is a bad football team. All the way around, it's a bad football team. And, the Chiefs just happened to fall to us. We happened to get the win, but there's a lot of needs on this team. There's a lot of things that our general manager told us was okay that's not okay. Starting with the wide receiver position, outside of Michael Pittman, we got nothing. And we're struggling to run the football. We don't have a right tackle. So this team right now is struggling, and it's something that, they need to get fixed. And this is a bad football team. They just happen to get lucky versus Kansas City.
Fair enough. Let's see here. So Mike's still working his way back. So while he's doing that, Looks like he was having some technical difficulties here, saying he couldn't hear us. But while he's doing that, Stuart, talk to us about what do you think that the Titans could do in order to get a win this week against you guys.
Yeah, I mean that defensive line is scary. I mean, you look at some of the guys they got on there, and looking at the right tackle position for the Colts, that's going to be the issue. I mean, Matt Ryan's fumbled the football a lot in the first 3 games of the year. And so if you hit Matt Ryan uncovered like we've seen Kansas City do, Jacksonville do, Houston do, it's going to continue, and it's going to be something that I don't think is scary when you look at some of the guys they got on there. And so it's going to be a tough right tackle position for the Colts. That's going to be the issue. I mean, they got to get the running game going too. A lot. Ryan Tannehill, not 3 games of the year. Over, so if you be the guy that he was a couple years ago, and
sorry about that.
I think they'll wind up winning.
Fair enough. So I know it's your first week here, so you haven't had a chance to kind of talk about the previous games. But what are your feelings on your first 3 games? Your quick feelings on kind of how things have been playing out so far this season. I know you kind of touched on it a minute ago, but just how do you think you can go from there? Where do you think you guys can get to this season with Matt Ryan?
I mean, the Colts started off 1-1. We shouldn't have even. To be honest with you, they didn't deserve to tie that game versus the Texans. The Colts should be 1-2. I'm fair enough to say that they did not deserve to even tie that game, let alone win the game versus the Texans. They should be 1-2 right now, heading into this matchup versus Tennessee. And it isn't. I mean, it's just not. This is a bad team, and I understand people are like, "Well, you guys have started off 1-4 before and made the playoffs. You did it last year, and you're on the verge of the playoffs and all that kind of stuff." But this is a different vibe, Cole. I'm telling you, this is a different vibe. Like those teams that lost were competitive and it looked like a good team. Just 1 or 2 things didn't go their way. This team looks like a bad football team. They can't even get their best player, Jonathan Taylor, going. And it's a problem. You can say, well, they ran 174 yards versus Texans week 1. Yeah, they handed the ball 35 times. I hope a back can get 170 yards rushing. It's at the talent level of Jonathan Taylor if they run it 35 times.
I hear that. So it looks like Mike's having some technical difficulties. So we'll just go ahead from here and just say, Stuart, is there any final thoughts you have on you guys' matchup? Mike, I know you can probably hear us if you're watching on YouTube. And then after your final thoughts, we'll move on. And then just make sure that you hop on YouTube and just let everybody know, where they can find you.
Yeah. My final thoughts would be I don't like the Titans, so I hope we win, but I'm not so sure we will. I think the Titans are a team that off to a slow start. I really do feel that way, but I think that they're a team that's still a really, really good football team. And if they get Derrick Henry going and losing Taylor Lewan there on the offensive line is going to be tough for them, but I think getting Derrick Henry going and Ryan Tannehill playing the way that he can, and I'm a big Tannehill guy, I'm not sure. My heart tells me to go with the Colts here, but my head's telling me no. My head's telling me that I just don't see this team walking out here, especially with how good that defensive line for the Tennessee Titans is. So if I had to give a score prediction, I think it'd be 28-21 Tennessee over Indianapolis.
All right, fair enough, man. And appreciate having you on, Stuart. Looking forward to seeing you back next week, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
No problem. A couple of comments here. We'll throw them up real quick. And those are from Mike here. He's saying that he thinks the Titans can win this game. They found some things in the mixture. Missed something there. But the one thing that gets the Titans is they have given up a ton in the passing game, actually. And this is the last year for Tannehill, Ben Jones, and Lewan here in Nashville, in my opinion. All right, cool. Just appreciate you. And we'll go ahead and get this next matchup here. So this is a matchup that I have a little bit of an interest in, as everyone might know. Horrible story from Sunday, guys. So I got to go to the game, had a great time, but it got hot for a portion of the game in the Commander Stadium, and unfortunately, it got hot and my phone shut down. So my phone shut down, so I wasn't able to meet with my Eagles guy here and all my other Eagle brethren during halftime and taunt the Commanders fans. But that's okay, because I am going to the Philly-Pittsburgh game, and I'll be able to taunt the Steelers fans there. So with that being said, welcome both of you guys to the show here.
Hi, good. What's going on, fellas?
What up?
So, Mike, I got to have you talk to me about what the Eagles have been able to do so far this season, starting off 3-0. What do you think we can take in to the Jaguars game? And do you feel, one other quick question for you, do you feel that a lot of Eagles fans and outlets are taking the Jaguars too lightly in regards to this game on Sunday?
Yeah, because, I mean, Eagles, putting offense flying high. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jacksonville, playing lights out right now. I mean, leading the league in takeaways on defense. The Eagles look good, but I think Jacksonville, Doug's coming home.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be another emotional game like, Wentz this past week. I think the Eagles got a fight coming this week. Just being a realist. Whether, Eagles Nation wants to hear it or not, but, Doug's got the Jags playing some pretty good ball here. I mean, James Robinson running the ball, Christian Kirk, and also, like I said, Jacksonville's leading the league in takeaways, I believe, with 8. So, they're balling out. They won a couple close games, but, it'll be a good test for the Eagles. Plus, I believe, it's going to be raining up here, so, both teams could be running the ball. So I think it's going to be a closer game than what a lot of people think.
Yep, I think so as well. Kyle, so talk to us about the Jaguars, what they've done so far, and what do you think they can do to get a win here on Sunday?
First of all, cool. Great to be aboard again. 𝐿𝐶edric, my first time meeting you. And Mike, listen, with your name, I don't know whether to just call you Mike or call you Fuji or you're Armando. You got so many cool nickname potentials, man. It's a lot of fun. It's a good thing. Don't apologize for that. But let me get right into it. First of all, I love how a Philly guy is going to talk to a Florida guy about rain. It's absolutely adorable. But at the end of the day, I think both these teams can run the football particularly well. Miles Sanders has done things that I would not have expected at this point. If you didn't know Jalen Hurts can run, watch the film. And listen, you see the painting in the back. I respect the trenches and the way that offensive line is still good with Jason Peters no longer being in the lineup because, listen, you age out in the NFL. It's what we do. It's how things work. But at the end of the day, yeah, I expect a lot of running and, well, yeah, your quarterback's pretty mobile. Trevor isn't unmobile, but I'm not sure that they want to be central to the running game as well. Like, listen, Jalen Hurts is amazing. Trevor is good to get you a 10-yard first down every now and again. It's a tough situation with the weather to kind of predict this game. But if it goes to the air, you got to give the advantage to the Jags for achieving balance. And cool, listen, last week you heard me mention that the key to the Chargers winning that game, as I thought they did, though, I said bet the Jags. And then 38 points. Who'd have thunk it? That happened because Nick Bosa left the game, and the Jags were balanced, and all hell broke loose. I'm not expecting James Robinson to break off another 50-yarder, but the Jags can run the ball. We've seen that when given opportunity, but I'm taking nothing from this Eagles squad. This will be a fun game, and I could make an argument that since you played Kirk Cousins at prime time, Mike, this could be your biggest test since the Lions.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, Washington, it was a coming out party. Finally, Jonathan Gannon unleashed that bad Washington offensive line getting 9 sacks. It's about time they unleashed the beast. Brandon Graham, 2.5 sacks, and Fletcher Cox kind of playing out of his mind these first 3 games. So, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a big test for the Eagles. I mean, ranked number 1 right now. Great. We love it. But, hey, you got to go out and earn it. And here's the other thing. My biggest thing is cool. The Eagles aren't scored any points in the second half. So, I mean, you got to play 60 minutes of smart, solid football. I mean, you just can't come out, play one half, and then, sit on a lead. But, it's going to be a closer game than I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So we'll start with you, Fuji. What do you think that the Jaguars can do to beat us on Sunday?
Well, I mean, Swift ran on the Eagles, week 1. So, you got to shut Robinson down. You got Evan Ingram, you got Christian Kirk, you got, the Jones guys over there. So, I think, Doug could mix it up. Who knows? He knows this defense a little well with some of these guys that are still left from that Super Bowl team. Not many of them left, but, I believe, the Eagles are pretty high up there as far as the pass, but the run, I think they're kind of like the middle of the pack right now in the rankings. So who knows what Doug's going to bring? I mean, you got to bring the pressure like they did last week on Carson Wentz. I mean, you got to keep that consistent. I mean, like last year, the Eagles were second or third in least amount of sacks, and, you got to keep that rhythm going with this defense. Hopefully, Hassan Reddick will, he stepped his game up last week. Everybody was chomping in on Carson Wentz. So, just got to get – I just think you bring the pass rush and, secondary. Darius Slay, I believe, got nicked up a little in that game Sunday. I think Josh Sweat, but, these guys are all right now. Milton Williams, another guy that got nicked up. So, hopefully he'll have a healthy – a lot of guys will be healthy to come play this week. So, as I said before, 40 – you got to play 4 quarters of smart, solid football. You got to keep that offense consistent, not just sit on these 1/2 leads. Because, the game could change. And, you can't come out and take any team lightly in the NFL. Especially, I think this is going to be their biggest test so far. I mean, you got Arizona coming up in a couple weeks. You got Dallas coming up on Sunday night in 2 weeks. So, you better start taking, going for the throat and getting all these wins down.
Definitely. And same question for you, Kyle.
Listen, the Eagles are a team I have respect for. I picked them to win the division back on my show in August, I believe it was. And I'll tell you this too, Fuji, the favorite statement that you made in your assessment is very simple. No team can be taken lightly. Just ask the Colts who surprised the Chiefs. Who saw that? Put your hand down. You're lying. No, with all that in mind, folks, listen, what the Eagles have to do, in my mind, is very simple. I'm not going to say the same thing that I did about the Colts, not, forcing the game to be one-dimensional on offense for the Jags. That's pretty obvious if you ask me. What I think the key here is this is the time for Jalen Hurts to have that throwing game that shuts everybody up. And I think this is the opportunity to do it if you are the Eagles. Find a way to contain Josh Allen in his pass rush with that offensive line. Like I said, pretty good. It's a fun time. I have fun watching them do work. They have a very balanced offense themselves. And if you're in a position when you're challenging and making that game less about Josh Allen and that defense and that defense behind him and the draft pick they got put in, at the end of the day, what's going to happen? You're not going to see Jalen Hurts set up to challenge the second.
Just cut away.
The weakness.
What's up, man?
So with all that in mind,
hey, just living life.
Challenge that secondary. That's the way you get completion.
Nah, that's Bronco Orange.
You beat the Jaguars.
Bronco Orange, man.
Definitely. I hear that.
I'm claiming it, Bronco Orange.
And I'm not sure what happened there. Let me check here. Still there, Cal?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, he's still there.
I'm still here. I don't know if I got knocked off the screen.
Yeah, we're still here. We can still be heard. It's just going to take a minute to pull the visual back up. Go ahead with what you were saying, Kyle.
Yeah. So no, with all that in mind, I'll give you the short version of what I said. With the passing game, Jalen Hurts needs to have the passing game that the Eagles fans have been asking for. And listen, Shaquille Griffin missing last week's game, being an injury question. I haven't seen any reports yet this week's for the Jags, so we'll see if he's back on. I don't know. But yeah,
So he's questionable right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen Wednesdays come out. Yeah, you got me, Fuji. You're on my page. But if you could somehow pay attention, neutralize Josh Allen, get the rookie Trayvon Walker to make the difference if he can. Levin Floyd has 2 interceptions already as a linebacker. You're going to have to find a way to account for him too. If you can control that front and have people guessing, pull those safeties up, whether Jalen's going to run or any of that, and beat him over the top, that's going to be the key. Challenge the secondary to win if you're the Eagles.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, guys, of course, love having you on. Do you guys have any last thoughts that you wanted to give on your matchup?
As I stated before, I think it's going to be a big test for the Birds this week. To hold on to that number 1 spot. So.
Hey, listen, you may have the number 1 spot now in the NFC, but you're going to still go to the playoffs with that division, I know for a fact. And hey, if the Jags want to be taken seriously as that same group that can beat a weak division, they're going to need to win this football game to convince people. So, at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun. And I know for a minute there, we saw the Steelers rep cool. Stop starting Trubisky, please. Anyway, 𝐿Cedric, cool. Fuji, it was a lot of fun, man. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it was.
No
Thanks,
problem.
fellas.
Hey, guys, make sure you hop in the comments on YouTube and just let everybody know where they can find you.
Thanks.
Everybody have a good week. Just wanted to prayers to everybody down in Florida and down south that are going to be going through this hurricane. God bless. Prayers for everyone.
Absolutely.
Stay well and stay safe.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So yeah, we're gonna hop on over here to Mr. Peyton Tomlin. Looks like he's gonna be going alone again today. It's not his first time. I guess these guys are a little nervous to get on with him. I don't know what he's doing.
Hey. Hey, brother, I would be scared to get on with me too. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't.
Especially
Right.
Yeah, you got me about to eat some of my words, but we'll see. We're getting it close. We're at block.
Hey, you never know, man. You never know.
But yeah, I mean, if I was a Jets fan, I'd be scared to get on today, man. I mean, what they gonna say? Flacco or Wilson, we don't know, right? So we don't know who's playing this weekend.
They don't true.
But we know the Bird will be there, and this is a win we gotta have. So I'll start there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So Peyton, since it's just you, talk to me real quick. What do you think you guys can do, to win the game, and what do you think the Jets can do to beat you?
Man, all right. First question: what can we do to run the game? We got to look like the first half of last week, right? Okay. We got to get moving, move the pocket, get Mitch moving around a little bit, get him running a little bit. He got to get that. He got a little Josh Allen in him. He got to utilize it. He likes to kind of sit back there and make terrible throws, but if he's on the run, he seems to make better throws. I don't know what's going on with old Mitch. But if we could get Najee going and get our playmakers the ball, like he has to stay aggressive. Last week in our first half, he was pushing the ball down the field. You get that, the one-hand catch by old George down there, which was a great, pass. You got to also utilize our tight end more. He didn't get Pat the ball till the fourth quarter at the end of the game to finally get him his first target. And then our defense just has to play stout. Might be a little tough. I just got off the phone with Mike Tomlin, and he told me that Mika's in the concussion protocol. So we'll see how the rest of this week plays out. But if Mika doesn't play, then that definitely hurts us a little bit more on that back end. Now for the Jets, if I was the Jets, I would just run the ball. You got Hall and Carter back there, man. Especially if you bring Wilson back, I probably wouldn't want to put him in too many bad situations. But we don't have TJ, so it don't seem like we could get pressure on anybody. But if they can run that ball and control the time, we're an easy team to beat.
Okay. So I know who you think is going to win the game. We obviously know that. But what are a couple of keys? Let me say it this way for you. What do you think is the group that you need to be the best at? Whether that's special teams, whether that's offense, whether it's defense. What do you think? What group do you have that you think needs to be successful for you to get this win on Sunday?
Offense. We got to help our defense. Our defense has played a lot of plays this year. I think our defense have played more defensive plays than anyone else. They played over 100 plays that first week, that overtime game with Cincy and so forth. So they've been on the field a lot. Our offense is 3 and out a lot. I don't know what Mitch is looking at sometimes. Literally there are wide open receivers running down the field, and Mitch will dump it off to Najee with 3 people on him. So that's why, we're getting there. It's slow. It's a process. They're young. We understand that. Our guard is injured this week, so we'll see if he plays. Dotson got injured a little bit, so we'll see if he comes back and play. If not, we got to put Green in, and if Green is in, then we'll have no running game. So at that point, Mitch will definitely need to throw the ball to those wide receivers, and we have talent. But I do believe the Steelers can pull it out 17-14. Once again, it'll be a close game. Probably come down to a field goal. If they keep, Flacco in there, I used to call him Slacko back when he was with, Baltimore, but now that he's with the Jets, I'll give him his real name. I think that gives him a better chance to beat us because he's used to us. We never played Wilson. We don't know this kid yet, and he doesn't know us. And coming off of, being hurt in the preseason, he hasn't played all year. I think this will be a tough game for him to come back to. But definitely my Steelers will win 17-14. We'll be 2-2 going into Buffalo. We got a tough stretch going in before we hit our mid-season. What's that? Our bye week.
Okay, fair enough. So, Peyton, any other thoughts that you wanted to share in regards to the game?
Man, not necessarily in regards to the game, man. I just wish these guys show up. I don't mind talking about my Steelers all day, but I would love to down their teams and let them know just how much of a chance they don't win, and then come back next week and eat some crow maybe. But
it'll happen, man. It'll happen. Don't worry about it.
I'm fine with talking. I'm fine with talking trash, man, and bottling down when it doesn't come through. But I appreciate it as always, brother. I love being on here. So we'll talk next time after we get this victory, 2-2. And remember, man, we'll see y'all soon. Who said go Birds? Fly, Eagle, fly. Tell them to stop that. See, I was trying not to make no comments about the Eagles today because I know you're riding high, and I'm going to just let that go for right now.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. See, that's what happens when you got brethren in the same state. You might not like the same team, but we in the same state. You have a little respect for each other, right? So
yeah, much respect. They look good. They look real good. So I don't know about that Denver thing, but we'll get into that next week.
Absolutely. All right, so appreciate it, man. Make sure you hop in the comments so let everybody know where they can find you. We look forward to seeing you next week, Peyton.
All right, brother. Y'all be careful. Have a good week.
Yes,
You as
sir.
well. All right, so we got a game or two here we don't have the reps for. So go ahead and run through those real quick, and then we'll get to the ones that we got our people here for. So we got the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. These are both 1 and 2 teams. Arizona's who I thought they were. The Panthers are pretty much who I thought they were. The game's in Carolina. I think the Cardinals are a little better on the road. Carolina surprised me, honestly, by getting the win last week. I thought they'd win the week before instead. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think the Panthers are going to win this game. I don't know why. I just feel like they're going to win the game. I think Baker Mayfield obviously is going to play decently. And then some other quality things may happen to, get everything going with that. But I just feel like the Panthers are going to be able to pull off a win this week. What do you think here, Cedric?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Panthers are going to be riding high off that divisional victory last week over the Saints. So I think that's going to give them a little bit of a push, plus the home field advantage. I kind of see the Panthers pulling this one out too. I feel like Arizona is going to try to do something, especially after Kyler Murray called out pretty much his entire team, after last week, saying he can't do everything. But, I don't think they're going to be able to do much. They don't really have much of a team over there to start with. I feel like it's going to be a very boring game, but yeah, I see Carolina pulling it out.
Pretty much. I definitely agree with the boring part. And then we have the Patriots and the Packers. So honestly, Aaron Rodgers may not have all the weapons that he needs, but he's got two solid running backs. I think he's going to be able to do what needs to be done to get a win over this Patriots team, who actually played pretty solid last week, but they may not even have a quarterback. We're not sure about that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to definitely go with Green Bay in that game.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Patriots can't try to slow the game down every single game. And then, like you said, without having Mac Jones, you don't have Mac Jones, who's your second option, so
Hoyer.
I definitely yeah. So I mean, I see this not necessarily as an easy one for Green Bay, but I definitely see a big score from them in this one.
Oh, definitely. And then we're going to hop on here with our next representative. That's going to be my guy, Ian. Ian's definitely one of our guys that is consistently on here to roll with us. So definitely appreciate that.
You're like a Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, I have Cortland Sutton in fantasy, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man.
Shoot, probably our most consistent receiver, if you even want to call that, from what we saw Sunday
Our
night.
only receiver. Who else?
Yeah. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to do what I do every week when it's the Broncos game. I'm going to even turn my camera off this week.
Hey.
Right? You guys have at it. 5 minutes of the Broncos, guys.
Hey.
You just said I'm out. So I'll let you go first, bud.
I mean, what can you say? It's been a roller coaster through the season, through going to the loudest stadium, being booed at our own stadium, having a countdown, become viral. We didn't do much last week, but it's the Raiders. What did they do? It really is a game of, I hate to say it, but a game of not two not very good teams that on paper look like they should be miles ahead where they are. It'll be interesting. I feel like we're going to see a lot of Devontae Adams this week, which means Pat Surtain will be working overtime. We'll definitely probably have to shade someone over the top, Our defense has been great, so I expect that to continue. They come through clutch when we needed it, but oh man, it feels like we're just waiting for our offense to wake up, which as more time goes by, it's seeming like it won't happen because we're losing more receivers left and right. We're losing players. Andrew Beck, man, he's really turning out to be if they could get him more involved, I think that'll be great. But I just feel like, it's a headache right now watching the Broncos play, to be honest.
It really is. And I was at the game Sunday night, and I was telling a few people that were sitting around me, honestly, it felt like Tebow Mania was making its triumphant return because for 55 minutes, our defense kept us in it. Our offense couldn't do anything. And then the last 5 minutes, oh, wait, our quarterback can run. He can scramble. This is what we paid $250 million for. So, just with the extra $250 million part instead of the rookie deal that Tebow was on.
Right.
So, but I mean, obviously, we know that our defense is going to have to be what keeps us in these games until our offense truly gets it clicking. The one upside that I do see, at least for the Broncos, at least from what I'm able to tell, is that we're able to stop the other teams on their running game. Right now, I believe we're holding teams under 82 yards a game through our first 3 weeks, and the Raiders, they're actually averaging only 80 yards a game.
Oh,
So, I mean, if that's any sign of what's to come, I expect a heavy dose of Derek Carr trying to air it out. I know Hunter Renfrow is still questionable,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm still fully expecting to see him. But with how PS2's been playing, if he's still 100% healthy, or at least healthier, I expect to have him on Devontae and have Caden Stearns or Kareem Jackson kind of helping out with that. So, I mean, PS2, we've seen what he's done. He shut down Debo. He shut down Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
He shut down DK. I mean, I don't know what more we can really ask of him to do in that regard, but I agree 100%. I also think that our running game truly needs to find its footing again. Just keep feeding Javonte the ball, and Russ, truly stop trying to be a pocket passer. Stop trying to be Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. You are
Just
blessed
play
with an
ball.
ability to run. You are blessed to play a little bit of backyard ball. I know Hackett's got those play calls in there to help you stay in the pocket, but if you see an opening, run. Don't just sit there and take the really ignorant sacks, because it just seems like there's so many of those that could have been avoided. So I don't know, but I mean, like the people are commenting, Sunday night was rough. Both offenses were rough. So it's hard to say that we deserve to win, but at the end of the day, we're 2-1. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take a dub every day of the week. And obviously with the Raiders, well, we see what they are. And kind of what we were talking about preseason, I feel like I'm the one that said it, that Josh McDaniels, he still doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the Patriots purposely didn't sign an offensive coordinator or designate one because they knew a certain somebody was coming back. And right now, that may be the way that it's going.
Which is weird. I don't understand that. But I feel like we'll see a lot of Waller up the middle for sure. Tight end seems to be our kryptonite, man. So I think it's the Raiders, it's rival week, so it's gonna be something, but I definitely hope it's a little bit more entertaining than last week. And I hope to see reports that we go out and look at some wide receivers, man, like talk to Julio, someone, at least bring someone in, to look, just to get it covered, man, because I don't know. I really want to see Judy flourish, but as every game passes by.
Yeah, another game where his hands are literally there for decoration again. And it's getting to the point where it's almost unacceptable. And I get it, he's coming back from an injury, but some of those that are literally just falling out of his hands, those are layups that for wide receivers, especially the bigger names, like a Devontae, like a Stephon Diggs, like a Jamar Chase. They're making those plays left and right. And if he wants to be considered one of those types, he's got to be able to make those plays. And especially with us having still like 11 mil in cap space, I don't see why we don't go out and try to find another receiver with a little bit more reliable hands. But I mean, the other thing, going back to the tight end thing, I know that we were expecting a heavy dose of Darren Waller, but I don't know if it's actually going to come, only because I was expecting a lot more out of Kittle, and look what happened.
True, that is true. But I mean, it's Garoppolo. I mean, Derek Carr is a little bit. He's a step above Garoppolo for sure.
A little bit as far as targeting goes. And yeah, by the way, we're not trying to tamper with Julio, whoever the heck said that. We're not trying to tamper with Tampa Bay. We're not the Miami Dolphins. Stop that.
Come on, guys. Well, hey, guys, I know that I don't want to have to break up you guys' Broncos Brofest, but we have to get to our next matchup. So, Ian, make sure that you hop in on YouTube and let everybody know where they can find you. Appreciate you having you on, man. Look forward to seeing you next week. It seems like every other week your guy shows up. Maybe people just don't want to debate you. I don't know what's going on here, man.
You don't need
know.
him.
I've told him I'm here. I'm ready for it. But, there's a little blank spot right over here. Come on, fill it up, guys.
Appreciate you, man. We look forward to having you next week.
Of course.
All right, guys. So we're going to transition to our next to last matchup here. We've got the debut Dylan Spaulding, who's going to be talking with the Bucks with us. And then we've got for the second week in a row, Ty Owens covering the Chiefs. Back again. So, guys, appreciate having you both on. Dylan, we'll start with you since you're the new guy here. Tell me what the Bucks can do to get a dub this week, and what you've seen them do so far that they can build on to help them.
Well, the first 3 weeks, I would say the Bucks have kind of been average at least. They haven't been. I would say they haven't been at the top of their level that we've seen in the past couple of seasons with Tom Brady. And, even Tom Brady he's kind of dropped a little bit in his play. And we've seen that the last few weeks from Tom Brady. They're not putting up the amount of points that they've been putting up in the past couple of years. And, this is just a different team. And we haven't seen much of Lenny Fournette. He had a big game against Dallas opening night and has kind of been there. He's gotten a few good rushing yards for us, but really Tampa Bay hasn't gone too crazy yet. But, last week was a really interesting week last week. You don't have Mike Evans after the suspension, which I got to give credit to my boy Mike Evans supporting his boy Tom Brady. I got to give credit there. But, you don't have Mike Evans. You have no Chris Godwin, no Julio Jones. Your best receiver last week was Russell Gage. So, how much do you look at that in last week's game and look at that team last week? It was definitely a rough game for us. We weren't on our point, and the Packers were the better team at the end. So, I think the Bucks, they have full strength back. Mike Evans will be back this week. I believe Julio also will be back as well, if I looked at the depth chart correctly. So hopefully we get a few of our weapons back. We get Lenny kind of going a little bit, and hopefully the Bucks offensively could get some firepower back here this week, because they really need it. They haven't scored much at all this season, and I think they really need to show off that offensive firepower, because the defense has played very well this season. I think it has really kept the Bucks in a lot of these games.
Well, Ty, same question for you, man.
Yeah, so for the Chiefs to win this game, I think the defense is going to have to step up. I understand everything Dylan just out the Buccaneers offense, but they still got Tom Brady. They still got Leonard Fournette, and Mike Evans is obviously making his return to this game. So I am a bit concerned about their offense, even though they have looked average throughout the first 3 weeks of the year. I think, Tom Brady, sometimes he takes a minute to get started. He starts a little slow, but I think having Mike Evans back is a huge piece for the Buccaneers. So I think the Chiefs are going to have to obviously get after Tom Brady without blitzing him. You need your front four to get pressure without sending a blitz at Tom Brady, which I think the Chiefs front four will be able to do that. Looking at the Buccaneers offensive line, where they have some injuries and some deficiencies. But that's the biggest key for me, is the defense has got to play well in this game.
Fair enough. And I just want to say, I want to see a Chris Godwin sighting, because my fantasy team could use an extra boost.
I agree
at wide
with
receiver. Chris Godwin, I got you because you're supposed to come back and help me. So please, can we get right at some point in the next couple of weeks? I can hold off a couple more weeks, but when buys start, I need you, man. I need you.
For sure.
I feel that.
Now, Ty, talk to me about what you feel like the Bucks can do to beat you guys.
So what I talked about, the Chiefs getting pressure without blitzing, I think this, for the Bucks, a lot of this game rides on Todd Bowles, because we know how much he likes to blitz. But we go back to that Super Bowl. Obviously, the Chiefs lost 31-9. Look at the way he played defense. He did not blitz much that game at all. It was a lot of Tampa 2. It was a lot of their front four just getting home at the quarterback, obviously, because the Chiefs' offensive line was banged up. But the Chiefs' offensive line is a top 5 paid offensive line, and they're not playing even top 10 this year. So I think the Buccaneers are going to be able to do that. I think they're going to be able to get pressure without blitzing, but I think it comes down to Todd Bowles and how much he blitzes.
Same question for you, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go in a similar fashion here. I mean, you look at the offensive line for the Bucks, it's banged up right now. I mean, you look at that offensive line, it's not pretty. We'll tell you that much. So, and obviously, you know, you got your weapons back. Last week you didn't have your weapons back, which was massive. And, you know, we saw that a lot. The Packers took advantage of it. And, you know, I think that's, again, going to be another big thing. And I think another thing, too, is the unknowns this week. You wonder where the Bucs are at mentally, practicing in Miami right now. You know, there's a lot of history with Brady and Miami. So, you know, he's walking around an area where, you know, he could have very well been the owner of the team from what reports were. So, you know, you kind of wonder what the mentality is. You don't even know if the game will be played in Tampa on Sunday. So there's a lot of stuff happening with the Buccaneers right now. Obviously, I know the Chiefs are in a similar situation, you know, still figuring out where they're going to be playing at with the Bucs on Sunday. So I think that's another thing, too, is like, where are the Bucs mentally at, especially coming off a really unfortunate loss, which was really unfortunate because it was a very close game. It was a emotionally contested game right to the end, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this Bucs team comes out to play here on Sunday. But they need to win bad because the next couple of weeks you do got some easier games, if you will. You do have divisional matchups, which are always going to be tough in the South, but you know they got to get this win, and you know we would love to see it like the Super Bowl back in 2021, but I think it's going to be a lot closer and it's going to be a lot tighter than what we had in the Super Bowl the last time these two teams met.
Fair enough. And Dylan, any last thoughts on the game?
You know, go Bucs, man. You know, looking forward to a great game. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. This could be the last time these two great quarterbacks play against each other. And, you know, we're going to be watching history wherever it may be played, whether it be in Tampa, Minneapolis, New Orleans, Miami. I don't care. We're going to watch history be made, and it's going to be a fun game. And hopefully, you know, the Bucs step up on offense, and we show a little bit of firepower here in Tampa Bay. The Cannons will be firing, hopefully, here by the end of Sunday night.
Well, Dylan, I think if Tom Brady's wife has anything to say about this, definitely will be the last time unless they meet in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Ty, same question for you, man. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with him a lot. You know, Tom Brady obviously versus Mahomes. These are two top-tier quarterbacks going at it, and this might be the last time we get to see that. And exactly what you said, cool. If Tom Brady's wife has any say in anything, this will definitely be the last time they play each other, not unless they meet each other again in the Super Bowl, which is possible. Yep. Definitely could happen. But yeah, my final thoughts, I think the Chiefs can definitely win this game, even coming off of an unfortunate loss. My thoughts and prayers are with everybody in the city of Tampa, Tampa Bay, and obviously all of that situation with the hurricane. It looks like the game could be moved to Minneapolis, which, interesting fact, Patrick Mahomes 15-0 in a dome before last week. So now he's 15-1 in the dome. He'll get a chance to be 16-1 in the dome if it's Minneapolis.
This is an interesting tidbit there. So, all right, guys, definitely appreciate you both hopping on. Hopefully we'll have both of you guys back on next week. And definitely make sure you hop in the comments on YouTube and just let everybody know where they can find you. Again, appreciate it. Look forward to see you guys again next week.
All right, see you next week.
All right, guys. So now, guys, we're going to roll to our last matchup. We're going to do things a little different. So we did actually get Mo, who is our Panthers rep, on with Steven, who is our 49ers rep. So what we're going to do is we're just going to shoot the breeze about both games and then things on a solid note here. These two guys that know a little bit about sports, so maybe they can give us some good information here.
Hey.
So, Cedric, for this one, I'm going to let you start off, man. What questions do you have for these gentlemen?
All right, man. Cool. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. Going good.
Nice. All right, I got our last two games. So let's see. I'll start off with you, Mo. So,
fantastic.
You good? Think you might be frozen. Actually, well, we'll go over to you, Steven, with the 49ers, man. Coming off a heartfelt loss. You know, what do you think you guys can do moving forward from what seems like not being able to do much?
I mean, the first thing is stop getting hurt, right? That's the biggest thing we had going against us right now is, you know, Jimmy Ward in the secondary has been out. Trent Williams goes down against y'all. And I mean, you saw like our offensive line was already struggling with that Denver front before Trent Williams went down. They didn't have a chance after Trent Williams went down. They started just getting annihilated. So I think that's the biggest thing. You know, everyone is complaining about, you know, Jimmy this week, and I'm right there with him. I blame Jimmy a lot for that loss. A lot of it was on him. I'm even more upset that he had the audacity to be over there smiling after the game. Like, you just basically cost us a win, and you over there smiling after the game. So my thing is, we need better leadership. We need to shore up the offensive line a little bit. I don't know if that means bringing somebody in or whatever. But to me, those are big issues right now. We don't have an identity. And I think part of that is actually we spent the entire offseason getting ready to transition over to Trey Lance. We basically created this entire offense around what Trey Lance does well. And that's not the same thing as what Jimmy Garoppolo does well. But although we've played with Jimmy for years, it should be easy enough to adapt to that. It's not something you could just go out there and do overnight. So to me, that's really what this team has to do is they have to get healthy. They got to get back to running the football and playing 49ers football, because that's what you have to do if you're going to win with Jimmy at quarterback.
Okay. So Mo, you're here for the Rams? Is that correct? Cool.
Panthers.
Okay. Oh, for the Panthers Cardinals game?
Yeah.
All right, man. So, well, shoot, with the Panthers coming off a high win, what do you think y'all have to do
For the
to
Panthers,
keep it going? Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
I think we're playing the Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. Well, you got to put pressure on Kyler Murray. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now. Well, we could hear you.
Mo internet
Hello?
trying to
Can you hear
protect
me?
him.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, I guess with that,
Can you hear me now?
Steven, we'll jump back up to you, man. 49ers and
Still
Rams.
can't
I
hear
feel like
me?
NFC West games are always exciting. What do you think the Rams
Can you
have
hear
to
me?
do
You can't hear me?
to
Can
pull
you hear
this
me?
one out?
I mean, listen, I can just get on here and give you the exact same answer to this question every single week. You have to stop our run game. And you have to find a way to have some success running the ball against us. Because if you allow my front four to pin their ears back and come after your quarterback the entire game, especially with our improved secondary, you're going to be in trouble defensively. I mean, you saw yourself Sunday night just how good that defense is, And so that's not something you really want to have happen. Now, on the offensive side, you also saw what happens if you can keep us from running the ball well. Especially with the lack of protection we have on the offensive line right now is very problematic. So if we can get back to running the ball, that sets up the play action. That's what allows us receivers to get open. That's what gives Jimmy Garoppolo room to throw the ball. Then once you can get the ball into Ayuk's hands, Kittle's hands, Debo's hands in space, that's when we're a problem.
Okay. Well, it looks like Mo's not with us. I guess, Steven, you got any last thoughts towards the game? Any predictions, hot takes?
I mean, man, it's 49ers and Rams, right? This is always a bit of a slugfest. These two teams do not like each other. This is a rivalry that goes back a good ways, but it's also a matchup in which we are 6-1 against them in the last 7 matchups. So the question that I'm asking, if I'm a Rams fan, is: did the Rams finally figure out the secret to getting by us in that NFC Championship game, or did they actually just get lucky? Because outside of that one game, we've dominated them. So, it's nice that you won that game, but we did it 6 straight times. So, I'm not going to just concede that you've got it all figured out now. The other thing is the Rams have a ton of injuries themselves. And we talked about this on the Play Caller show all last year on their way to the Super Bowl. Was they're going to have to get lucky when it comes to health, because if they have any injuries, they have no depth. And that's what we're seeing with the Rams right now. They've had a couple of injuries, and that lack of depth and that lack of experience is showing through. Yes, they did beat Arizona, but Arizona's not that good. They almost lost to a Falcons team that also isn't that good. And when the only time they played a real team this year, they got absolutely trashed. So it's going to be interesting to see what team shows up. I'm just hoping that we don't embarrass ourselves in prime time for a second straight week. That's all.
I could definitely understand that.
And somebody let Jimmy know where the back of the end zone is, please.
Oh man,
hey, he was stepping on racism, man. Did you not see the meme?
He was putting his foot down on racism, man, and I respect that. But do that before or after the game, not during.
All right, looks like we do have Mo back here.
What's up, Mo?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you now, sir.
Yeah, man.
I had to switch to a different device. You may not be able to see me because I can't see myself, but you can certainly hear me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there I go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So about my Panthers, yes, they got a W. Finally got a W. I'm not down on them. I'm not impressed so far this season. Defensively, they've been nothing like the dogs they were last year. And I think that's what's hindering them right now. I mean, you're talking about a couple of teams that are struggling themselves that you lost to, Cleveland and the Giants. He came through with the victory against the Saints with the guy that's out there playing with fractured ribs in his back. You expect an interception at some point, but it had to be tipped at the line and a lineman, catching the ball to get that interception that they so badly needed. This was another game that they easily could have lost. So it was, while it's encouraging that we got the win, I'd like to see it a little more convincingly. We've got a serious problem in that I said it when we went out and got Baker Mayfield that I didn't see that as the answer. I don't see Baker as the guy. He's not. I think you got two quarterbacks who are about the same guy. Neither one of them are very dynamic. They're not getting out on the run. If you look at the usage of his targets, McCaffrey is down like 20% in the pass game over what he's done over the last 3 years. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Chenault, who had a touchdown the other day, 67 yards, I think it was. Great to see him get involved, but DJ Moore, when are you going to throw him the ball? Robbie Anderson, when are you going to throw him the ball? Christian McCaffrey, when are you going to throw him the ball? I understand the offensive line, they're trying to get it together. But again, I think it's going to have to start with the defense because offensively, with a guy like McCaffrey, you shouldn't look like this, but they do. I think so I can understand you wanting to limit how much you use McCaffrey because I've said that in the last couple years, that if you continue to use him at that high tick, he's going to be hurt every year. So I can understand you wanting to limit his touches and his usage, but not in the passing game. I mean, I can understand not wanting to run the ball all the time, but give this man the ball. He's yards. He's a one big ball of yards to get. And Baker's just not getting it done.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes,
so
sir.
You are saying you don't want him to run as much, but you want him to catch the ball more.
Yeah,
isn't that kind of like? But isn't that kind of the same thing? Because I mean, you're still getting tackled, you're still getting hit the same way if you're catching the ball as well. So wouldn't you want to just kind of limit his overall touches so that way you could hopefully have him at least be on the field as a guy that teams have to plan for versus you overuse him, he gets hurt again, and then like he always is, he's in the street clothes over there hanging.
Well, to answer your question, no, I don't believe that receiving the ball as a running back is as impactful as far as your body is concerned as running the ball up the middle or on the wing. When he's running in there in the middle, he's being hit immediately, and he might absorb 3 or 4 hits before he goes down. Whereas if he's catching the ball out of the backfield, he's now a receiver. It's just one guy tackling him in that instance a lot of times. So, yeah, it's not as much wear and tear on the body, and it's a very effective part of that offense, has been for years now. So when you take that away, so now he's getting, I think they said 7% of the receiving portion of the offense whereas in the last couple years he's been at 27 to 30%. So you're basically removing him altogether from your offensive scheme, but you're also not throwing the ball to Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and Shenault. Baker's just not the guy. That being said, this week, Arizona is a beatable team. You basically stop Kyler Murray. They don't have D-Hop right now. And until they get him back, they've got to rely on the young guys. What's his name? Dortch. He's been showing improving. But outside of that, they're one-dimensional. Connor isn't doing anything. Their defense, you can score on their defense, but Baker Mayfield has to throw the ball to somebody. He has to throw the ball to somebody. That's the problem. He's not throwing the ball to anybody. And if anything else, bring another back in. Let bring in a bruiser back.
He threw it to Shenault.
Let him run. Bring somebody else in to run sometimes to spell McCaffrey, and use him because he's very effective, highly effective. They've got the weapons except the quarterback position. I'm a little disappointed.
I love this comment, by the way. Kyler running around like a toddler who stole a phone from their mom.
Yeah, they got to put pressure on that little guy. I mean, you can't see over the line as it is. So you apply pressure, and the defense hasn't been stellar either. So if the defense steps up, I think they get a W.
Mo, just make sure that your pass rushers, when they run at Kyler, they just run with their arms up. They'll be fine.
Yeah, run with your arms up, out to the side, whatever you got to do so he can't get around you.
No, I was saying this. I was watching the game the other week when he had the big play where he was running backwards and nobody could catch him. And I thought to myself, kind of like what they were saying in the comments, like, the problem is he's so little you can't get him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got this big 6'2", 6'3" lineman running full speed at this little guy. Like, they're outrunning him. They have to dive at him and hopefully like get him because he's just little.
Well, you got to be careful the way you tackle him too, because he's so little that if you just tackle him regular, you will not just slip away. You're gonna get a 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true. Because I mean, there's only so much area that you. There's only so much area that you could actually tackle, and he's a little guy, so there's less area. Yeah, that's
because to not hit his head, you basically have to get like 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Now, I will say in his defense, he's not getting out and running the ball as much this year. I think they're trying to make him more of a passer. Why you would do that while Hopkins is out is beyond me.
Well, you know why? Because he's a little guy. They don't want him to get hit.
Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it.
They just resign. Want to keep
Maybe
him
he should
all
pass the ball to himself. That way he is receiving.
All I'm saying is, do you want your toddler playing with grown men all day?
Oh man!
You should put those playbooks around his padding, so
Put him in a bubble.
Yeah, put him in a bubble, man. But no, this is definitely a winnable game for Carolina, and we're at home, so hopefully that floats the boat our way. But neither of these offenses look very prolific right now, so I'm not looking for a mediocre game. A few mistakes, a lot of penalties, and hopefully we come out on top.
All right. And Steven, did you have any last thoughts, bro, before we?
Hey, I'm just gonna throw out there, man. To me, this is a must-win game for the 49ers, right? You win this, you're tied for first in the division. You got a couple of games coming up against Atlanta and Carolina that are very winnable games. But then after that, you got a bit of a stretch. So to me, you have to go into that stretch against some of those tougher teams, at least at 500, if not one game above. Because you're going to have like 3 games that you're probably not going to win all of them. Like, you'd be lucky if you went 2-1 in that stretch. So you have to get this win here. This is a big momentum game. So that's going to be the thing, man. I'm hoping my team shows up ready to play this week. Hopefully, Jimmy gets in game shape and gets his arm right and figures out where the back of the end zone is and all that good stuff, and remembers how to throw the ball to Debo. So,
all right, Mo, you kind of already had your first, middle, and last thoughts, but anything real quick you want to add, sir?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, I think it's a winnable game. That's it, and they need to go out and perform, and make the defense needs to look like it did last year, and so does the offense, quite honestly. And Baker Mayfield is not the answer.
Hey man, I'm gonna be pulling for the Panthers this week. So,
thank you, sir.
Anything else for these guys, Cedric?
Nah, man, sounds good.
All right, cool. So, everyone, appreciate you hanging out with us. We met our goal, which was to get done in 2.5 hours or less. So we're knocking that out the park by a good 7 minutes. I take the wins where I can, and just want to thank everyone who's watched the show. Thank everyone who checks out the replays. Just make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, and we will see you back next week, live in effect, through all the matchups again.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Let's
having
go.
me.